Hello and welcome to Rotted Reviews, and today we're continuing on with the advent calendar of Christmas horror movies. Only 10 days left till Christmas. And to celebrate, I'd like to take a look at the movie from 2017, Let's Kill Grandpa This Christmas. Just based on the title, this is going to be a difficult one for me to get past YouTube on the monetization front. Let's just see how it goes. And speaking of the title, that's pretty much the only criteria that made me select this one. And it's not so much a horror movie as it is a dark comedy with the darkness kind of coming from murderous intentions. Written and directed by Brian Gianci, this movie follows a family of misfits, and the eldest is a crotchety old grandfather with a sailor's mouth. And despite appearances of his dwelling, grandfather is apparently quite rich. And because of his crotchety nature and his wealth, his family conspires to murder him this Christmas. And our window into this toxic family relationship is through the eyes of Carl, an in-law who is a wormy, sniveling, whiny, little downtrodden, recently unemployed turd. So that's the general outline of what to expect on a storyline level about this movie, but what to expect on a quality level. Unfortunately, not very much. In fact, I would have to say that this movie was actively offensive, both to my sensibilities and to my funny bone. There was not a shred of a laugh found within this dark comedy, not a smile, not a smirk, not a chuckle, not a chortle. And I think that mostly comes from the fact that there were no real, jokes. Comedy is such a tricky thing, and I get that, but there are different levels of comedy that people can go for. There's sharp dialogue of interactions between clever characters, there's slapsticky Three Stooges-esque antics, there's just all manner of different avenues that one can pursue. But the one thing that was found in our ultimate rejection of the big red letter spoof movies of the late aughts is that references alone don't make jokes. And that's pretty much all that was really attempted in this movie's world of comedy is references, not pop culture references like those aforementioned movies, but simply kind of weird socio-political references that didn't really amount to anything. When we have Carl introduce himself to a new administrative assistant at the very beginning of the movie, and they very harshly and directly rebuke him by pronouncing that they are gender nonspecific, and then make their pronouncement of their preferred pronouns, that's not a joke. It's almost like the filmmakers are trying to put the spotlight on the folks that are advocating for their own preferred pronouns and saying, hey, look at this. Waka waka. It's not funny. These people exist. That's not a joke. That's a reference. When we have a situation in which a homosexual relationship develops between a younger man and an older man, that's not a joke. That's a reference. That exists. That's fine. Coming up with comedy through the lens of the absurd is perfectly acceptable, not a problem, and oftentimes very fucking funny. What's not funny is pointing to real cultural movements and groups of people that exist and saying, look how absurd this is. Just based on the title of the movie and honestly the first 1 minute of it, I was expecting lowbrow, and lowbrow is fine. But I really was expecting something a little bit more like, okay, fine, lowbrow, fine, we're going slapsticky, not a problem. So let's just look at the title, Let's Kill Grandpa This Christmas. I was really expecting a lot of really wacky attempts on Grandpa's life that always blew up Tom and Jerry style. I was expecting something like that, and that was the furthest thing from what we actually got. Instead, it was kind of just odd caricatures running around yelling at each other and not really doing a whole lot. And here's the interesting thing. There was a moment at the very end of the film in which two characters were reading something back and forth to each other. And one of them was, I promise not to take things too seriously. And I couldn't help but feel like that was talking to the audience. Like, I know what this movie is, but just don't take it too seriously. Well, I tend to have a little bit more success not taking things too seriously when I didn't just spend the last hour and a half not fucking laughing. So that's my review of Let's Kill Grandpa This Christmas. I don't recommend it. It's not a good movie. It's not a funny movie. There's no joy, no fun, no merriment, nothing to be found here. Just nothing except for offensive boredom. So thank you very much for watching this review. I hope you liked it. If you did, please click like and subscribe. That really does help me. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.